In this video, I'm going to walk you through the various settings on one of our binary clocks, how to adjust the time, the color, the brightness, all of those things. It's all done using these three buttons on top. On this dark clock here, they're not the easiest to tell because the contrast isn't the best, but you can still clearly see we have a minus, an S, and a plus button. Those three buttons are going to be what we use to adjust everything on the clock. So to start off with, we can use the plus or minus keys to change the color. The current models have 6 different colors in them that we can cycle through. And you can go back and forth using these buttons. I think the red was showing up about the best on the video here. If we want to change the brightness, we can hold the S key and then use the minus or the plus key. You can hold it or you can press it once to go through each of the 10 levels. If you hold it, it'll kind of cycle through them all. Same with the colors. If you hold the button, it'll cycle through it, but it's kind of quick. Or the plus and minus will cycle through the colors. So the important part, what we actually need to know how to do here is set the time. They do have batteries in them, and they do a really good job of keeping the time, but for things like daylight savings time or a different time zone, things like that, we might need to adjust the time. So to do that, we're going to get into the settings menu. So I'm going to start by pressing the plus and minus key together. And sometimes, if you don't do it exactly right, it'll change the color. That's okay. Once we're in this menu, you cannot change the color or the brightness. You can change it back when you get out of the menu, but in here we can only do the different settings. So this settings menu has 4 levels, and we can tell which level we're in by looking at this right column here, the kind of the first digit of the seconds. Right now we're currently in level 1. This is what we can use to adjust the minutes. So I can use the plus and minus key to count up and down through the minutes. Right now I'm currently displaying 31 on my minutes. Actually, I'm sorry, 41 on my minutes. I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 46. There we go. I'm going to press my set button, and now I'm in level 2. The second level in this menu is for setting the hours, which we have displayed here. Even if the clock is going to be displaying in 12-hour format, you still have to set the time in 24-hour timeout, or 24-hour format. The biggest thing for that, if you're not familiar with it, is if the time is afternoon, add 12 to the time. So it's currently 3 o'clock, which means I need to be displaying 15. I already am. 1, and then 1 and 4 is 15. But again, the plus and minus keys will adjust that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus or the set button again. The set button will cycle through to option 3. On this level, we select either 12 or 24-hour time as indicated right here in the left columns for the hour. That's 12. That's 24. And you can use either the plus or minus key. It'll just cycle through them, whichever one you press. Press the set button, and now we come to the 4th and final level in the menu. This level, we have 3 options. We can press the S key, and it will go back to level 1 and cycle through all the menus again, like that. We can press the minus key, and it will disregard any changes we've made, and the time and everything will go back to exactly how it was. Or, if the time looks good and we want to make the change, we press the plus button, and the clock will update the time. Now when we do that, it will save the hours, it will save the minutes, but it will reset the seconds back to 0. That's just kind of how I have it set up. So what I would recommend, if it's your first time setting this, or even if it's not, if you're a little bit more familiar, I recommend setting the time for a minute or 2 ahead of the time it actually is. So if it's 3:45, I would recommend setting the time to be 3:46 or even 3:47. That way when you get to that last level, that level 4 on the menu, you can wait for the time in real life to actually be the time on the display, and then hit the plus button and it'll start right off with that. Otherwise, if you're not real familiar with it, you could set it for the exact time, and by the time you get to that 4th level, the time may have already passed. Another kind of quick thing to keep in mind, I do have a few things programmed into the clock to remember. It will keep track of the time when it's been unplugged, and it'll keep track of whether or not you've selected the 24 or the 12-hour format for the time. It does not remember the brightness level or the color. So if we were to unplug this and then plug it back in, it's going to go back to that level of brightness on the red. The time and everything will be all right, but we can just change back to whatever color and brightness we had. Hopefully that helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email or to us through our website. Thank you for watching.